Hello, this is Dale Matthews. I hope the show is on. Yes, it's on. And I'm joined by Mike Jones. Hello, Mike Jones. Are you on too?
Yes, I think I am on. I am on.
Yes, yes. Sometimes the show starts and you're not quite sure. And sometimes when you press the end button, it doesn't quite work. And well, that's
I've
just
been
the
there.
way life is sometimes. Yes, yes.
Mhm.
So, have we got a packed show for you tonight? Now, we've been talking about this for the last couple of days. We're going to show you the video now. This is something that happened in the little back room on Thursday, just a couple of days ago, with Simon Hare and the others. We're just going to play the video for you and then ask you, what did you just see? What did they just say? And we'll get your reactions, so to speak. Go ahead, Mike.
We do this from time to time. We have a couple of these.
We do.
It's getting to be, I don't think we've ever turned one down. So maybe
a hire. Talking about a hire.
And the manager give the first blush, because that's what we just did. We'll eventually have to do this at the weekly business session because it's an administrative, but it's a budgetary item that wasn't previously. But it was in the budget.
It's within the budget.
We've always taken those to the weekly business session for approval of hire outside the prescribed staff. But maybe we need to look at that.
Be good.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's been budgeted in that sense.
Yeah.
So it's just
and that could be the constraint. If it's within the budget, maybe it's fine for the liaison and the director.
Mhm.
I would trust, you guys to just make the right decision here.
As long as it's within the budget.
As long as it's within the budget, I think that
Yeah.
should be a manager's. But before.
And they meet the qualifications.
Yeah, there's a justification for it. But the reason we used to do it in the past that coming here is if we're outside the budget, you need special.
Oh, yeah,
where
sure.
you get the money.
Mhm.
It's all well and good, but so anyway, just
Good.
a thought.
It is.
Okay.
Well,
So now, Mike already knows. But what did you just see? Okay, that was boring, Dale. Yeah, I guess that was just a little back room and they're blah blah. Yes.
yeah.
But one of the things they've got criticized for recently, these commissioners, is they now seem to be hiring an awful lot of people. And you heard us talk about this before, where they'd really prefer that J.J. Schofield, the HR director, not really come to these meetings and make a big deal about the people that they're hiring.
Mm.
Well, you know why. Tell them why, Mike.
Well, because they don't want to be criticized for it. I mean, that makes sense. But is it that we are just too stupid to understand that we really do need to hire these people at, naturally a much higher wage than the guy that, last occupied that job, or, or at a wage that's, higher than Portland, so that we can, lure them down here to be on our team.
They did say that.
Yeah, it's bothersome. I mean, you have to keep going back to this. If we are hanging by our fingernails, which they always say that we are, so I have to assume that they're correct on that. If that's the case, why? Why are we hiring? And now they just want to give J.J. Schofield carte blanche. Just go ahead. Hey, as long as it's in the budget, whatever the heck that means. And that's the magic budget, as we all know. It seems like, hey, we're up against the wall. Is there some sort of a thing like, hey, wait a minute, why don't you spend less than the budget? You ever think of that? Wait a minute.
To get them to do that.
Right. It's like, do we have to spend everything that's in the budget? I mean, maybe you just have too inflated of a budget because you stacked the budget committee with all your buds.
I have been watching these guys for over a decade now and videotaping them. Got all these tapes of them or digital recordings. This last couple of years, the first time I've ever seen where everything that anybody asks for, oh, it's in the budget. How the heck did that get in the budget? Stuff you never would think of. Oh, yeah, that's in the budget. It's a magical budget. Okay, but what actually happened? What were they just saying? Okay, so what what they did was they had somebody come in and they were talking about hiring a new person. Okay, that's not new, even though Simon says he toots his own horn all the time. Why, in the time I've been here, we've got less people. Well, actually, to be honest now, Simon, that happened before you arrived. And so this thing about, well, we had this many and then we had this many, that was done before you got here. So he's always taking credit for it, but it had nothing to do with him at all. Okay, so that's number one. And now it's going back up again. It's going up, up, up. And every week we talk to you about it. There's JJ Schofield or somebody saying, oh, we got to hire new people. Now, but they are getting criticized for this. So what were they just saying? Let's work this out. What he's saying is, all right, we're going to take this to the Wednesday weekly business session, and they will. And this coming Wednesday, it's like 4 or 5 different people that are getting raises or being hired above the normal salary, okay? Even in this time of fiscal obscurity, now suddenly we can do all this because it's in the budget. So Simon was just saying, you heard him, one other thing is, I get criticized. Well, you're saying that that they should tell you how much it's going to cost. Yes, at every single time that they're doing this, they should say the dollar figure is this. Oh, we're going to do that from now on, which of course they never do. And Sandy Casanelli is always getting, well, how come you aren't telling us that? Well, we'll do that next time, Sandy, which they never do. Okay. And I think we should be asking how much does it cost? Okay. And then I say, well, where's the paperwork? That stupid paperwork. He's always asking about, well, how else are we going to keep track of what they're doing? If there's no paperwork and they won't tell us how much it's going to cost, now how are we supposed to know?
Yeah. And there's this other thing is that when they hire somebody at a particular rate, that's a recurring cost in perpetuity. Some might say permanently. And so if that's the case, then how come next year's budget does not disallow you from hiring more people because we're already maxed out here?
And it is still paid to them after they no longer are working here.
I don't really understand, because listen, in my world, when my fingernails are hanging on the edge of the cliff, I'm cutting what I'm spending. I'm spending less. And if there's some new thing that I need to put out for, I ain't putting out for it. And listen, America is doing that right now, waiting for the economy to return. And so we're all hanging by our fingernails. These people don't hang by their fingernails. They say they're hanging by their fingernails for public consumption. But when it comes down to it, that's not what they do. They hire people incessantly. They buy things incessantly, and they give money away to people who are going to return nothing for it incessantly.
And even having the chief financial officer, Rosemary Paget from the past, say it wasn't that long ago, and they call her in for projects every once in a while, so she's right there, said that she was ordered not to follow through on loans and things like that. Oh, really? Okay, so, but there is something that they said here. Okay, so, Dale, it's boring to listen to backroom meetings. Okay, Dale, it's boring to ask them about how much it's going to cost. Well, okay, it's boring to ask where's the paperwork. Okay. And so they don't take it to the weekly, because he's talking now about, well, there's no need next time to take it to the weekly business session. Really? Right. Okay. Yeah. That's a little bit less boring, or should be less boring to you, because now you're not going to know there. Well, certainly they'll talk about the little backroom meeting, and Dale's right there. We're right there with him. No, that's not what they were just saying. Think again about what you just heard. He was saying, now he didn't put it in this words, but listen to the meaning here, because that's what we do. Look, Jim Moore was in the same meeting. He's from the Courier. He didn't get this. He didn't hear this. He doesn't know he can't put 2 and 2 together. He can't follow the dots, as Simon says, the most transparent government in the world. Okay.
Or he agrees with the board and thinks that that's not really a big deal. We don't need to know about this. Hire anybody you want to, as long as it's in the budget.
Here's the part that matches with this. Yes. they don't have to go to they've decided now maybe they will no longer go to the weekly business session. Okay, then you're cut out of the loop, except you got us right there and we're listening to everything they're saying and we're watching them and we're trying to hold them literally accountable for the money, accountable, that kind of accounting, and also accountable to you. But what he just said is, well, I trust you guys, and so maybe we can just leave it up to the liaison. Do you understand what that means? They won't bring it to the weekly business session.
Well,
yes, but let me just finish. But they're not.
Sure.
But they're not even going to bring it to the little back room. It's going to be left up to the liaison. This is why Cheryl was saying, yes, she's one of the liaisons. And so she'll make the decision. She doesn't even need to tell the other board members. Not only are you not hearing at the weekly business session and there's no documentation, but we're not even going to hear it if this passes, if this goes through with what Simon was saying, you're not even going to hear it in the little back room. You won't hear about it at all. They'll just hire people and nobody will know. Oh, now they finally figured out a way to ace us out of the process. Now nobody can know.
Well, and now that we have put so much groundwork down, why don't we play it again so people can actually hear that?
Please do.
We do this from time to time. We have a couple of these.
We do.
It's getting to be, I don't think we've ever turned one down. So maybe refining this process with the liaison and the manager give the first blush, because that's what we just did. We'll eventually have to do this at the weekly business session because it's an administrative, but it's a budgetary item that wasn't previously, but it was within the budget.
It's within the budget.
We've always taken those to the weekly business session for approval of hire outside the prescribed staff. But maybe we need to look at that.
You good?
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's been budgeted in that sense.
Yeah.
So it's just
and that could be the constraint. If it's within the budget, maybe it's fine for the liaison and the director.
Mm-hmm.
I would trust, you guys to just make the right decision here.
As long as it's within the budget.
As long as it's within the budget, I think that should be a manager's. But before.
And they meet the qualifications.
Yeah, there's a justification for it. But the reason we used to do it in the past, that coming here, is if we're outside the budget, you need special.
Oh, yeah,
where
sure.
you get the money.
Mm-hmm.
It's all well and good, but so anyway, just a thought.
It is.
Why do they willfully not want to know that more money is going to be spent in one department or another, regardless of whether or not it's on a budget somewhere?
You want the real answer? You want the answer? Because I'm sitting there. Okay, we're all sitting there. And they do not want the people to be asking them. I mean, just what would happen? Just think about it. What would, if they really did start telling people what was happening and giving us the numbers like they say they're going to and putting out, then people might start asking questions. They don't want people to ask questions. They just want to do it without us paying any attention. That's why they yell at me. That's why they say that we ought to ban us. That's why they give us such a hard time, because we are watching over what they're doing and we're telling you.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little confusing to me. Here's the question that I want to know the answer to. If there's a budget, okay, here's the level at which we were running our, finances and employment and all that stuff last year. There has to be a budget that's an expansion of this level. That has to be done. So, I mean, the place to cut this off is in the budget committee, before it's happening, because don't give them the budget. If it's up to them and they want to spend all of the budget all the time, regardless of whether it's needed or not, then some sort of a cap has to be put on that.
Now that's a really important point. We talked about this yesterday, and we were saying if we were all running for county commissioner, there's only one fiscal conservative on the budget committee. Everybody else is very strongly in favor of a county property tax levy that's higher. Jim Brumbach was actually the guy that was up front in that church when they were saying, come on up and we'll tell you more about Jesus. No, more about raising your property taxes. Okay. These are the guys that 5 out of 6 are exactly that way. The only one is Peggy Goodwin. Now, just imagine what would happen if you've got 2 fiscal conservatives, you're going to need 2 or it's going to do no good. Okay, if you had 2 fiscal conservatives, 2 people that actually fiscal conservatives, 2 people that if you say, or would you be in favor of property tax, they would say, you know, if you're not in favor, hold up your hand. They would hold up their hand. Oh, I thought I'd put up my hand, but maybe I won't. Hey, what's that all about? Okay, all right. So if you had 2 of them, then you would have with Peggy, you'd have 3. Half of the people would be saying, no, let's look at this, and then the other half of the people say, oh no, let's not. Let's not even report it. Let's not only should we not bring it to the weekly business session, let's not even bring it to the little back room meeting. Let's just not even tell each other they're going to do that. You know that they will. Okay, so this is what happened. This perfectly leads into the next tape, if it's all right with you, Mike.
Yes.
This is what happened when Keith Heck, before he was a commissioner, he was made chair of the budget committee. And Keith Heck, before he was elected, okay, it's bad enough that it happens with others, but even before he was elected, he was saying stuff like, we don't need to hear from you because we already know what you're going to say. So sit down. That was Keith Heck before being elected. Oh, but I like that, Keith Heck. Yeah, but he said that. Oh, well, I have no explanation for that. So just backing up just a little bit, sorry to lay down the groundwork here. We've got somebody who was in there for a couple of years. This is Simon Hare, and said for a whole year. Now, I don't think that we should have any television at all, because then people would be watching what's happening and then cut it off entirely and then let it back in just with a ceremonial weekly business session, which they prefer not to talk about hiring people in now. Then you back up a little bit, and you got Cheryl Walker, who she was in for a whole day before she said, you know, now I think that property taxes is the only way to go. Although she ran on the idea that she wasn't quite sure. You've got this guy, I can't remember his name at the moment, but that's why I didn't mention it. He was there for 2 days before saying, it's none of your business what we do as county commissioners. Really? Yeah, none of your business. And he ran on a transparency idea, okay? Then you've got Keith Heck, and Keith Heck, he was doing, that's even worse, he was doing it before he was a commissioner, okay? So here's a piece of videotape that'll bring you kind of, it'll remind you of the kind of stuff that's been said to try to stop us, because we're the ones who look at what they're saying and not only play it back for you, but then kind of translate it for you. This is what they just said because you've heard it twice. Play this tape, Mike.
I just wanted to make one clarification comment. This levy has nothing to do with the Board of County Commissioners. I mean, well, you can chortle all you want, but I'd appreciate it if you would not do that if you want to remain here.
This is Dale Matthews. What did he just say? Keith Heck was making fun of a citizen who said there was proof that the commissioners were supporting the 2015 levy. When Keith Heck insisted that the levy has nothing to do with the board, several people chuckled to themselves. You couldn't even hear them. But it's now against the rules to silently laugh at a meeting. Simon Hare threatened me for simply grinning. Literally, even freedom of facial expression is no longer allowed by our local government at meetings. So Keith Heck says, not if you want to remain here. You just heard him. So how did it come to this? I can show you, but you're not going to like it. I'm going to play a video recording of the county administration meeting of August 7th, a few months ago. The commissioners were attending most of the levy 2015 meetings, sometimes constituting a quorum. Keith Heck came back after an SOS meeting with news about how he had assigned the county director of juvenile justice to gather information to turn over to the levy proponents to promote the possibility of a levy.
Jim Goodwin has been requested to develop a generalized budget of, with the answer to the question, what does it cost to operate the juvenile justice system, to see whether there might be an interest, a hypothetical figure, using a figure of $2 million. That's what it costs. and how much is needed to get there. Is there a possibility of it having a levy for that particular, that everybody understands, is designated for that, so that the juvenile justice at least can get up functioning or whatever. So he's already responded to some preliminary information on that.
So it's over. This levy was not initiated by a citizen-driven program of complete independence. It was initiated by the commissioners.
But it has nothing to do with the county commissioners as far as supporting it, seeing it passed, or whatever. The only thing we would have to do with it is if it did pass, we would have to receive that and to see it applied as far as the levy goes and the taxation aspect goes. But please don't misunderstand that the Board of Commissioners has nothing at all to do with this levy one way or the other.
This is why they must stop us, because we show you this stuff, Mike.
Well, and if you'll recall, I mean, if you paid attention to the day-to-day politics of the levy and the push for it, Jim Goodwin was involved in this particular thing where he did the study, and the juvenile justice was a major cog in the whole wheel of the cuffs machine there, trying to get that levy passed. And right now, he's a major proponent here of the sales tax, which is set up to fund the same thing.
Because he works for the county and he serves on the city council.
Right.
So my point is that if you're going to operate this kind of government, you cannot tolerate people showing up at meetings, say, but we've got you in tape doing something. No, you don't. Oh, yes, we do. No, you don't. No, you don't. Now sit down, or I'm going to throw you out. If you're going to back that kind of stuff, you must cut people off like Mike and I. You've got to cut us off at the stem. You have to burn the roots. You have to throw away the soil, because you're going to find out stuff that you don't. Other people, we're going to tell other people, oh, no, we must not have that. Here's Cheryl Walker's example when I brought up some stuff that I think that the Courier should have covered.
Where's the story in the Daily Courier about the $100,000 plus cost overrun for the Dimick Tower? The Dimick Tower, which is this beautiful example of tearing something down, and it makes the county look really good that they're doing that, it's gone more than $100,000 over budget. There was a nice article written by Jim Moore and a colleague about people who feel nostalgia for the old hospital. Why, my leg was cut off in that hospital and I have fond memories of that. Where's the dang article about running over $100,000 over budget? In any community in America, a reporter like Jim Moore would be required to recognize that as a story. Not in the Daily Courier. When the nice people out in Cave Junction suggested that if you simply put in wheelchair ramps, it's going to create 214 full-time family wage jobs, the Daily Courier wrote something about a good time was had by all. There was no idea in the article, written by Jim Moore again, that these people had brought together this bogus argument to you, that it's going to create all these jobs. You know how much business would be required to generate one more job in a gas station? How many people would need to move into that area and do business just to hire one more gas station guy? 214 of them? It's not the idea of how much money is being spent. It's not the idea of whether Roger Brandt's a great guy or not. Of course he is. I gave him $100. It's the idea that we have this economic development plan, which we still haven't seen from Cheryl Walker after waiting for 6 months. And this is now part of it. It's ridiculous. And unfortunately, when you're saying, oh, trust us, we're going to spend your money right, we have this as the perfect example of how you're absolutely incapable of doing so. Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Judy Aaron's Grants Pass. I just don't know how to follow that act. It was so great. And, I'm just going to give badcounty.com a plug, because if you've never seen it, just for entertainment's sake, to go on badcounty.com and see Michael Jones and Dale Matthews. It's fackin' but smackin', and it's just funny, hilarious. And I told some people, and they're all going on it now because they think, wow, it's great entertainment. Plus, it's got facts there too, obviously.
I think that for someone to continue to make comments and spurious remarks, and to continue to put a face out there on Josephine County, and I tell you, Miss Aarons said something about look at it for its entertainment sake. I think it's a tragedy if you look at it, because it's hurting our county. A terrible tragedy.
Yeah. It's tragic.
Terrible tragedy. You people just don't understand what a tragedy it is. Really? Who is it a tragedy for? Okay, so this now leads into our main subject for today, which is Mike talking with the mayor. No, it's our coverage of what's been going on with the Grants Pass City Council and the idea of a sales tax. Now, we've got our personal opinion, but we've been putting out videos very carefully and putting them out saying, this counselor said yes. This counselor said no. It doesn't say here's another stupid thing said by a stupid person. No. This person said yes. This person said no. Bring up that first slide there, if you will, Mike. Okay, so here's an example of the kinds of people that we've been talking to, or we've been talking to, yes, but also showing their videos. There's 4 of them there. Now, Jim Goodwin up on the upper left-hand corner said, I love the idea of this Grants Pass City sales tax. The guy in the upper right-hand corner, this is Roy Lindsay, he's even stronger in favor of it. And the guy down the lower right-hand corner, which is the former editor of the Daily Courier, he says, yes, I think this is a good idea. Now, 5 people said yes on the city council, 2 said no. 1 said kind of a half-baked no, okay? Down the lower left-hand corner is Lily Morgan. Let's see Lily Morgan. That's the next one.
Okay.
Yes. Oh, why is that so thin? I don't know why. Anyway, the thing is, Lily Morgan was the only one who strongly said, no, I don't think this is a very good idea. Okay, she didn't say this is, wrong from the beginning. She said this is going to cost the people in the county lots of money. Okay, in the city, and it's going to primarily hit the businesses. And so she wasn't in favor of it. Now, her video that we put up that just says she voted against it, that's all that it said, is very, very popular. So what we were doing is we were taking all of these videos without comment and posting them in various places so that people can see it. We've doubled the amount of people who watch our videos. We've got lots of likes in a lot of places. But the problem with showing her video, there were 3 others. But the problem with showing hers is it doesn't match with the worldview of some people.
Mm-hmm.
They're not happy about that. Not only are they not happy about it, they don't want anybody to see somebody who's saying negative things about one of their favorite projects. Bring up the next slide, if you will. Now, here's some of the responses I've been getting. Okay. They got all over this lady at this one who runs this one social network site. Her name is Sherry Johnson. I have had an extreme amount of members asking that you no longer post your political propaganda and using my group to post videos. Thank you. It wasn't political propaganda when these city councilors were saying that they liked the idea. It suddenly became political propaganda when we also put up the one from Lily Morgan.
Yes.
Who are these extreme about of members that have gone to Sherry Johnson and say, you've got to stop it, you have to stop it, so don't look at it. No, you got to stop anybody from seeing it. What? You stop anybody from seeing it? Mike?
Yeah. Well, And listen, I'm of a split mind on this because I have the right to put up my Facebook page and have it be communists are us and everything
Anytime.
communist. And if you say anything that doesn't fit through the communist filter, we're kicking you out of there.
Absolutely.
I have the right to do that.
Yep. It's your party. And you can cry if you want.
Right, exactly, and that's where these people are. I think it's a little bit, I also administrate one of these pages, and when you come in there, I allow both sides. I just don't like belligerence, and when people getting unruly.
Well,
and I have
posting Lily's video saying. I'm posting the others and then posting Lily and say this person for against. Well, against was over the line, buddy. Oh, you better not say that. And that's all that it said.
Listen, it's legitimate to criticize that because it's shallow, I guess, to try to narrow it to only people hearing, hey, we're all adults here. I think that everybody around me, listen, I'm a conservative. Hello. That's a shocker to a lot of you people. But you know what? I don't care if the craziest left winger comes in and says what they say, and they do, by the way.
Yes,
all the time. And that's fine. I think that's great. But listen, being a conservative, I've been around long enough to know that there are plenty of places where I am not welcome at all. And I got kicked off this page before Dale did. Okay. I came in there and I posted a few things, and listen, on my page, I talk to people. If somebody's getting out of line, I'll say, hey, listen, come on, but on that page, all of a sudden you find out you're just not a member anymore.
Yeah, at least I got to notice. Hey, if Sherry doesn't want any black people at her party, God bless you, Sherry. Good luck in later life. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
I didn't realize you were a black person, Dale.
Well, it depends on the lighting in the room. Look, you can run your party any way you want to, and I'm not happy about it, but okay. I don't have a big beef about that, but that's not where it stops. Let's go to the next place. Here's what the next person had to say. Now, this is the guy that was all over Sherry and all over every other site. He doesn't live in some of these places.
I'm familiar with him.
He doesn't live.
I've been round and round a few times with William Campbell.
Now, he doesn't live in these places, but he's telling them what they ought to do and then getting other people to tell him what they ought to do. He says, it is time to take Josephine County back, whatever that means. Please,
which is the name of the page, by the way.
Yeah, nice. Please ban Dale Matthews from posting. He went on to say some other things, but this is the gist of what he said. Now, here's the reaction to that. Here it is. Yeah. Now,
and his partner in charades, John, or whatever his name is.
So what do you think about that, John?
That's funny.
Now who is
listen, they're Sharon Mason.
Sharon.
I have no Sharon, that says Sharon.
No, it says Shannon.
I have I've been no, it says Sharon. If I'm John, then he's Sharon, okay?
Oh, I see. Okay.
Now I've been round and round with him before. I don't remember having long arguments with him or whatever, but I've talked to him on other pages, so I don't know where his negative opinion of me is. And as for, I guess I'm just some other John.
Okay. All right. Now they can assist anytime they want to that I be banned. Okay. All right. They can do it on that page too and put all kinds of pressure on that guy too. Okay. Whatever. Whoever runs that. Say. Who is Shannon Mason? Now, so I'm going to tell you a story you've never heard before. Shannon Mason is always telling people, well, Dale Matthews is a problem with various groups around town. So I'm going to
I've heard that story before.
Yes, I'm going to tell you one of the groups around town where I have been a problem. Okay, oh, you're such a problem. I'm going to tell you about it. It's a guy that I really like. His name is Chuck Lauderette. I like Chuck Lauderette. Okay, Chuck Latourette for many years has been the president or the vice president or soon to be the president of the Lions Club, one of the two Lions Clubs, the one that's not going out of business yet, because the people are getting too old and they're basically folding up because their members are graying. A lot of that's happening, not to me. And so I don't poke my hair up in spikes to make it look like I'm younger or anything. So, okay.
I don't either.
No,
I
of course
just
you
like it.
Yes, he dislikes it. He dislikes it.
Didn't.
Okay, all right. So
When I start dyeing my hair, then you can accuse me of
right.
Trying to pander to young people.
Everyone will notice Mike is dying. Right. Okay. So
and if I start dyeing my hair, that'll mean that I'm running for commissioner.
okay. All right. So Lions Club. I like the idea of volunteering in my community, and Lions Club is not an exclusive club where you have to prove your financial worth. Oh, you don't have to do that to get into. Yes, you do to get into Rotary Club. Yes, you do. You have to be making a certain. You have to pledge a certain amount of money, and they have a secret. That's not a secret membership list. Okay, let's see it. Well, that's a private membership list. It's a secret membership list. Okay, what kind of organization has a secret membership list? Okay, so you be the judges. Okay, so I joined this place because it's non-exclusive. What other club would have me as a member? And so I did a lot of working with them and, trying to do good stuff in our community and all the rest of that. I feel compelled to do that. My boss likes it. Makes him smile. I don't have to do that to get his approval. I already have that, but, I like to make him smile. And so I did a lot of stuff, and I noticed that their membership it only had like half a dozen people at the most. And so Chuck Latourette, nice guy. I like Chuck Latourette. He's the one that for many years was running the fireworks at the fairgrounds. And he's got some kind of certificate that says that he's a safe guy. So I went and I helped out on rainy nights at the park because they needed help, and I'm wearing a Santa suit or whatever, and I'm drenched because it's pouring down rain. And when we're setting it up, just Chuck and I, for most of the time there, I'm noticing that taking these electrical cords that are plugged in, and just kind of dropping it into the puddle of water, and then getting another one and fishing it out and putting it in. What? Now, wait a minute, Chuck, I'm no expert. You've been doing this for years, but is that really the safest? I mean, shouldn't you do this like this with them and then wrap them in plastic and then, keep them out of the water? Don't worry about it. No one's died yet. That's not a quote, but it's a good paraphrase. I'm kind of, wow, I'm just not quite sure. This is the trouble that I cause. You troublemaker. Why are you asking about stuff like electrocuting yourself? Why? No one's died yet. Yeah, it just doesn't seem like a real good idea to me to drop that in that water, and not worry about it. Oh, just fish it out, lick it off. It's going to be okay. I don't think so. Okay, so, all right. So that made me kind of doubt. These are the kind of questions I ask. Wouldn't anybody? Okay, then we get into, it's several months later, and it's time for the fireworks. Lions Club, Chuck Latourette, nice guy. I like Chuck. I like his wife. And Chuck says, well, you want to be president now, because it was always Chuck and his wife and Chuck and his wife. And okay, so I became the president of the local Lions Club, and I brought in half a dozen more people, and woohoo, we had twice as many members. Well, it went from 6 to 12, so big deal, Dale, big deal. Okay. So now we've got twice as many, and we're talking about the fireworks coming up. How are we going to do this? I mean, I just don't think that we can do it. We're now a board. We're a bigger board than just two people. Okay, husband and wife. And I don't think that we can do it. Well, sure, we can do that, says Chuck. No, wait a minute, Chuck. We haven't paid for last year. We're still in arrears for last year. Like $10,000 or whatever it was. It was a lot of money, and we don't have any money. Well, we'll invite young people in, and we'll make Rice Krispie squares for them of different colors. I don't think that's going to make it, but I just don't think that's going to do it. And so we took a vote as a board, and we said, look, we're just going to have to tell the fair board. Now, I was going to all the fair board meetings at that moment. Sorry, I'm the only one that can tell the story. Mike can't join in because he doesn't know the story. And we're just going to have to tell him, looks like we're not going to be able, because we haven't paid last year's bills yet. The last time that we ran into the ground, into the watery ground with electrical connections, we didn't pay the bill. So I don't see how we can do that. So we voted, we're not going to do it. So the next thing we find out, is Chuck Lauderette, nice guy, goes to the press and says, we're definitely going to have fireworks. It's going to be put on by Lions. Chuck, what are you doing there, bud? I mean, I love you, but what did you just tell him? Why did you tell him that? Yeah, I told the fair board too. I said, how can you do that? First, he's not the president. But the other thing is, don't represent Islam. We took a vote. Does it remind you of Harry Mackin and Roy Lindsay? They took a vote. So we said, no, we can't. We haven't paid last year's bills yet. Well, but we're still going to do it. Chuck, you can't tell people we're going to do it. Look, all that you need to do is just go back to them and say, well, I kind of misspoke. Yeah, let the guy off the hook. He's a nice guy. He's a community leader. He's one of the old boys network, okay? And you can work with these people. You can, okay? So just go back and say, look, I kind of misspoke. I don't think we're going to be able to, we haven't paid our bill. Don't even tell them that. Just say, I don't think we can. So, okay. So he goes back to them and he doubles down and he says, absolutely, it's going to happen. Chuck, what are you doing? You're a wonderful guy, but you just lied to him. We can't do it. Well, I got something that's even better. Even better than fireworks? Yes. I'm not making this up. He said, we're going to have a mural. A mural? In addition to instead of the fireworks. A mural instead of the fire. Oh, kids love murals. Chuck, no, they don't. Oh, no, they're really going to like this. Everybody's going to like it. They're going to like this more than fireworks. They're going to like a patriotic mural more than fireworks on the 4th of July. So I was within a couple of months of going on to the next person, probably Chuck Lauderette being the president of Lions. I quit. I said, Chuck, you lied to them, you lied to us, and you think a mural, you really think a mural is going to be better than 4th of July? And kids are going to love it. Like the Rice Krispie squares? No, this is not going to happen. So as it turns out, the bottom line was the mural had to be scraped off because it was so awful. There was no fireworks. Lions Club had promised in the press that to KJO, if anybody listens to that, to the Daily Courier, if anybody believes that, to the board of the and I went to the next board meeting of the fairgrounds, and I thought, well, I'm going to have some explaining to do. They're going to say, hey, you're the president. What the heck's going on? Sorry. Well, they didn't have any questions for me. Chuck is part of the old boys network. You come to sort of expect such things. Hey, it's a big lie. Okay, whatever, old boys network. Really? That's how it works here. I still love the guy, but he lied to everybody. He lied to us, and half of the membership quit. So we can't do a business like this. Hey, well, what's your problem? Chuck, you lied to us too. Yeah, well, in this life. So
how does this tie together with Shannon Mason?
Well, Shannon says in this thing that we were going through that that Dale he doesn't say it here because I had to cut out some parts of this, but I'm telling you what he said. Yeah, Dale Matthews is a troublemaker from the get-go. Well, if you call that making trouble, okay, then I guess I am. But their thing, it's all around us. It's not just in the commissioners. It's with the fair board. It's especially used to be. It's with the Lions Club. It's with the Rotaries Club. It's with the guys that are running the library. Hey, just because the kids can get access to pedophiles, which they did. Well, that makes you a hacker and a liar. No, I'm not. So it's like being a rock in the middle of a river. I mean, my gosh, at least hopefully that your edges aren't crumbling away. Go ahead and let's hear what more William Campbell and Shannon Mason have to say. Poor Shannon Mason. Okay, so
I flipped to the next slide and Pat Fahey.
Here's what Pat Fahey has to say. So William Campbell says, ban Dale Matthews. Shannon Mason says as his partner in charades, John or whatever his name is, Pat Fahey comes in. and says, I agree. Do you remember who Pat Fahey is? He was on the budget committee. He's the one that's been criticized recently because he was on the budget committee, has a relationship with the commissioners, and now wants the commissioners to let him raise the rates for collecting your garbage. Next one, please. Okay, started with Pat Fahey agreeing. Next. I agree, says Mike and Lorena Beck. He can start his own page. There's an idea. Yeah, Dave Strahan, Mega Dittos. Please explain to us who Dave Strahan is, Mike.
Oh, Dave Strahan is, well, boy, I don't really know how to describe Dave is I'd say he's a rabid environmentalist, and he's also, I mean, he was one of the people that were demonstrating against the Oath Keepers thing with the mine. He thought it was dangerous that, people are running around with guns in the county here somewhere. Got news for you there, Dave. There's a lot of people doing that every day that you have no knowledge of whatsoever.
Dave Strahan was the guy that called the press conference out in front of the county courthouse. And then I didn't even get a chance. When anybody tried to ask him any questions during his press conference, he said, we're not going to be taking any questions. What kind of press conference is that?
And he's a government lover, left-wing socialist type of guy. And, ironically, he's using Mega Dittos, which is Rush Limbaugh. The origin of that is the Rush Limbaugh show.
Well, the other thing about Dave Strahan is this is the guy. And why does Dave Strahan hate me or hate us? Well, one of the reasons is when I had volunteered at the high school, I was a substitute teacher, so I was being paid a small amount. And I went in on the first day. I told you this story before. And the principal at that time said, here are your textbooks. And they were all photocopied textbooks. And I said, I can't use these and teach the kids about copyright protection from photocopied textbooks. So I mentioned this to a couple different places, including to the city. Look, we just can't do this, because that really put me on a wrong footing immediately with the principal at the high school. He's no longer the principal. And Dave Strahan is the guy that said, well, that's just, that's ridiculous. You're wasting our time mentioning stuff. I also mentioned that they were taking the money that was supposed to go to the kids and spending it on administration people on cushy chairs and nice tables. And I said, I don't think that that's right. Well, Dave Strahan, you're my enemy for life. Hey, Dave Strahan, what's your problem there, pal? Well, see, it's not the old boys line. It's not the union line, I suppose. It's the kids line. It's taking the kids' side. It's saying this is the way they said they're going to spend the money, that the city insists they spend the money, but they weren't doing so. Okay, it doesn't take very much to walk in the door and find that you're confronted with something that's illegal. So we just didn't use those textbooks. Big deal. Okay, but taking the money and misspending it and then warning me, don't you tell anybody. I'm the wrong person to tell that. And Dave Strahan has been death on Dale Matthews ever since then. That's what we do. That's what we do. We tell people about things. And you don't want to know? Why are you watching this? Go ahead, Mike. Do the next one, bud. Mega Dittos. Okay, so this Paul Bodeving comes in and he says, just left click on the triangle in the top right, go down and click on settings, click on blocking, enter the name. You'll no longer see any post by whoever you enter. Neat feature. Okay, all right, Paul, whatever your opinion is. Great, so they don't need to see me. This is not the problem. Go ahead. Yes, while all that works, it's nice to not have to do that in a group, though, says Shannon Mason. Yeah, we don't want to have make you click on anything, Shannon, because that would be an awful lot of work. Next.
Well, and I mean, his idea obviously is that, hey, this guy, we're all red licorice and he's black licorice. Let's get him out of here.
You don't want any black people at your party? Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
If you block a person in one group, they're blocked in all groups. Safe sanity, in my opinion, says Paul. Okay, that just means that wherever they go, they don't have to see anything posted by Mike or I. Okay,
right.
All right.
And he was trying to help them out, but they didn't want that.
That's not the answer for them.
Yes, right. The
Because
answer,
other people can still see it.
the real answer, although it's against the law, would be to have you crucified, in the public square. That would be the answer for them. But since they can't do that, they want to excommunicate you and try to block anybody from hearing your message at every turn.
Anybody at all, and it includes you, John. Okay, what's the answer to Paul? It's not about blocking someone. It's about someone taking over a group just to promote their own agenda. Now, let me mention again, we put up 3 videos from people who were for the sales tax. 1 video from someone who was against it, and all it says is she voted against it. That's now taking over the group. I've been accused of that by the county commissioners over the past. Every time he comes in for 3 minutes, he takes over the whole meeting. Just how does that work? I mean, I'm flattered, but that's ridiculous. You don't take over a 3-hour meeting sometimes in 3 minutes.
Well, but here's the problem with that page. That page is so sparsely populated that if one person post something more than maybe once a week, it's going to look like they're the only person on the page. And that's probably what was going on with your posts on that page.
I'm glad you brought that up, Mike, because here's what was happening, literally what was happening. I don't want to be the only person on there. And I don't want our videos to be, even though we're on a variety of subjects, okay, I don't want them to be the only ones. So I go like 2 days later, and still the last thing I put is the only thing there. So I'd wait a little bit longer and then put up another one finally, because we were losing track of what was happening in the community, and it might be nice to see both sides, okay? So I'd put it up there, and I'd go back, and now those 2 are the only thing. Nobody's posting anything. What kind of site has nobody posting anything? So I'd wait a couple more days, go back. Now only those 2 things are there. So I put up a 3rd one. It's on another subject. At least it's not only about marijuana, Mark. And so you put that up there, and doggone, it's the only thing up there. Well, so what's the problem?
The problem is that the site is not popular. It's exclusive and exclusionary. And that's the problem with that, is that, and this is, listen, we really need to understand this, that the squeaky wheels in the community have been getting their way for a long time, and they are the extreme minority. So why don't you come out and start demanding that a little bit more deference be given to your way of thinking?
We're getting there. Go to the next one. That's a good point, Mike. Nice segue.
Okay.
So William Campbell says he seems to think everyone should look at his videos. Okay. He has not even thought that maybe he should start his own group.
Yes.
Next. I didn't even think of that, Mike. Why didn't you think of that?
Yes.
He does have his own group page, whatever, says Shannon Mason. Thanks, Shannon. Next.
Then he should use it.
Okay, thank you, William T. Campbell. Next, this is great. Okay, here we go. Go ahead and read this one, would you?
It's, I guess I was wrong to join the group. Censorship is what the county officials would love to have happen. That is not taking the county back. That's giving it away. So I say goodbye. Don't have time to deal with fake. Mary Jean Pettit.
Yeah. And so here's the final answer. This from Susan Campbell. I wonder if Dale created an alternate ego and named her Mary Jean.
Yes. Yes. Why did you do that, Dale?
Oh, Susan Campbell is the one. Everybody that watches the show is going to remember what we were, the questions that we had about manor development out at the Ivy Airport. We were the only ones to release their top secret plans for this. Top secret, it was posted on their website, but the Courier couldn't find their way to go get that. So we posted it, and we talked about it, and we asked questions about it. And we had people that, not us, because they wouldn't answer our question, we had people ask them some questions, how long have you been in business? Oh, I'm not going to hang up on you. What, really? Or try to call them. Nothing. And so it wasn't didn't bode well. And so Larry Graves got involved with the airport. That's when you should really watch out. And then I fully vetted them, and it's going to work. It's going to be great. There's going to be all these jobs, and let's start hiring people. Wait a minute. Is this real? Is it real? That's all that we asked. It would be great if it was real. Is it real? The Courier, it's the greatest thing since, yeah, okay. Is it real? Well, as it turned out, it wasn't real. Susan Campbell's the one that came in a month or two ago, and she says, "I saw you, Dale Matthews, at that meeting of the Cave Junction City Council." Okay, see, I recorded it, so yes, she did. And you were talking about all the happy, positive things about manor development and why the City Council should go along with manor development wholeheartedly. What? No, you must be thinking of someone. No, it was you. I know it was you. I guess she doesn't like manor development. Well, I'm not a big fan either. Yes, you did. You said so many positive things about them. I said, no, ma'am, I didn't. And here's what we actually did. You can check to see what we actually did. Plus, I have this on tape. Doesn't matter what's on the tape. I know what you said.
Well, her and her husband, I guess, were meant for one another.
Is it something in the water? That's lunatic. And she's the one. Tell the people what she said about you and me, Mike, and funding.
Oh, is this the gal who
Yes.
said she's going to track down who's funding us?
For what reason?
It's either the Koch brothers or George Soros. That's
both.
Last I heard.
And so what's the reason for so that she can cut off the funding to us? Good luck with that. We've made ourselves future-proof.
She would expose us. They're being funded by the Koch brothers, and then somehow people would find that out, and we would find ourselves all alone here at 7 o'clock with nobody watching.
I've been really reluctant to jump on Susan Campbell because she's obviously a loon. Okay, and I don't want to do that. It's not nice to do that to people. Shannon Mason also, unfortunately, falls in the same category. He's a goofy-looking guy that nobody wanted to be friends with. I was especially friends with him because others were just like, oh, I don't know about this guy. Say, hey, no, just because he looks funny or acts funny, or when he comes and talks to you, he practically puts his head in your lap. That's he's still a great guy. Well, this is the reward you get. I'm still going to do that kind of stuff. But Susan falls into the same category as a couple people Mike and I know. We just don't talk about them because, like the guy that's convinced he's his own country and he's got a passport, and because the commissioners have read a document that he handed to, that means they recognize him as a country. No, and nobody criticizes this guy because you don't do that to people who obviously have a little problem. Okay, you just don't. They've been remarkably calm with this guy, but he's flooding them with papers all the time. And at first I thought maybe I just don't understand things written in legalese. And then I read something the guy had written in everyday English, and I go, oh no, this doesn't make any sense in English, in any language. This is crazy. Okay, so I didn't want to do that, but she's going to speak up. Well, maybe he's really somebody else. Susan, you're up for play now, pal. Sorry, it'd really be better not to say anything at all. Like Jan Ford, who insists that we don't have a website, really better not to bring that up, Jan. So it's a hate group. They've now taken over a Facebook site. Poor guy that gave in to them. What is he thinking? This is why this flag's over my shoulder. I mean, are we not hardy enough Americans that we could put up with any other point of view? Not only do they not want our videos, no matter what point of view that they have on their Facebook, they're now going to other places and saying you shouldn't allow them either. It shouldn't be allowed anywhere. This is not America. Maybe it is part of America, and I just don't like that part.